All right, welcome back everybody. Let's look at the solutions to the now you try problems for finding x-intercepts of trinomial functions with leading coefficient of 1 by factoring. The first example is f of x equals x squared plus 5x plus 4, and we're going to look at factoring this out as it being equal to a set of parentheses times a set of parentheses with an x in the first position of each. We'll look at the number 4, the c value, and we will find its factor pairs, which are 1 and 4, and 2 and 2. We want these to add up to 5, and so if we do 1, positive 1 plus 4, that will multiply to be a positive 4, and it will add to be a positive 5. So those are our winning numbers there, so we can put plus 1 and plus 4 into our parentheses. We'll set this equal to 0, so we can get x plus 1 equals 0, or x plus 4 equals 0, to give us that x equals negative 1, or x equals negative 4. So our x-intercepts are the points negative 1, 0, and negative 4, 0. That's it for that one. For part B, we have g of x squared plus x. We'll say that this equals a set of parentheses times another set of parentheses. We have an x in the first position of each. We want to take the negative 6 now, the c value, and find its factor pairs. We'll have 1 and 6, or 2 and 3. We need these to add to a positive 1x and multiply to be a negative 6. So if I did a minus 1 and a positive 6, those would multiply to be negative 6, but they would add to a 5. If I do a negative 2 and a positive 3, they would multiply to be negative 6 and add to be positive 1. So those are our winning numbers. We can plug negative 2 and a positive 3 into the parentheses. We set this to 0, and we get x minus 2 equals 0, or x plus 3 equals 0. Solving these, we get x equals 2, or x equals negative 3. So we can say that the x-intercepts are the points 2, 0, and negative 3, 0. Moving on to part C, we have capital H of t equals t squared minus 11t plus 24. We'll say that this equals a set of parentheses times a set of parentheses with a t in the first position of each. We'll take the 24 and look for its factor pairs. We have 1 and 24. 2 goes in 12 times. 3 goes into 24. It does 8 times. Does 4 go into 24? It does 6 times. 5 does not, and so we're done because 6 is already showing on the list. I want these two numbers to multiply to be a positive 24, but add to be a negative 11. If they're going to multiply to be a positive number and add to be a negative number, that means they need to both be negative. So we can try negative 1 and negative 24. Those multiply to be positive 24, and they add to be negative 25. If I did a negative 2 and a negative 12, these would add to negative 14. If I did a negative 3 and a negative 8, we would get negative 11, and we can stop there because that's what we're going for. So negative 3 minus 8 equals negative 11. So we can plug in a minus 3 and a minus 8 into the parentheses. Set this to 0, and we'll get t minus 3 equals 0, or t minus 8 equals 0. Solving for t, we get t equals 3, or t equals 8. So our t-intercepts are the points 3, 0, and 8, 0. One more problem to go here. Part D says capital K of t equals t squared minus 2t minus 48. We'll set this equal to two sets of parentheses being multiplied by each other. We have a t in the first position of each. We need to take the negative 48 and find its factor pairs and find two numbers that multiply to be negative 48 and add to be negative 2. So we can always start with a 1 goes into 48 48 times. 2 goes into 48 24 times. Then we ask, does 3 go into 48? This one's going to be a little bit trickier. It does. Let's try some numbers. 3 times 10 is 30. 3 times 15 is 45. So we need one more 3 to make 48, so that's 16. 16 times 3 is 48. Then I want to say, does 4 go into 48? Now, if 4 goes into 48, we could say that that's twice 2. So if we cut that 24 in half, we'll get a 12. So 4 times 12 is 48. And we want to say, does 5 go in? But 5 does not go into 48. 5 goes into 45 and 50. So then we'll try 6. 6 we know goes in because 2 and 3 both go in. If I take the 3 and double it, we get the 6. So we'll cut the 16 in half. 6 times 8 is 48. Now, we want one of these numbers to be positive and one to be negative so that it multiplies to be a negative 48. Oops. And we want these two numbers to add to be a negative 2. So if we go through this and we try a positive 1 and negative 48, that's going to be way too big. A positive 2 and a negative 24, that's going to be negative 22. If I do a positive 3 and a minus 16, we get negative 13. A positive 4 and a negative 12 would give us a negative 8. Finally, the positive 6 and minus 8 would give us the negative 2 that we seek. So we'll put a plus 6 and a minus 8 into the parentheses to get our correct factorization. We'll set this equal to 0 to get t plus 6 equals 0, or t minus 8 equals 0. Solving these, we get t equals negative 6, or t equals 8. So we can say that the t-intercepts are the points negative 6, 0, and 8, 0. That's it. That gives us all of the intercepts, the horizontal intercepts, x or t, as these go. And we'll see you in the next video. Take care.